Hello, this is Dr. Scott Conn with mothersraisingsons.com with our prom series. So we're talking about high school prom. So this is assuming, of course, that you've got a child that is in 12th grade and is going to their prom, or maybe 11th grade and going to a junior prom. So on this one, lesson number one, we're going to talk basically about what a prom is. Now, for us adults, often who have been to a prom, we already know what a prom is. Some of us actually have come from smaller schools or have come from such small schools that we didn't really have a meaningful prom. So finding out a little bit about what our child's prom is going to be like can sometimes be helpful if we didn't have one of our own or if we didn't attend our own prom. Now, in my case, I've been to, I think, 7 or 8 proms in my lifetime, very commonly escorting friends when I was much younger. So 2 of the proms was with girlfriends or people that I was romantically interested in, but the rest of them were just escorting friends, just being their date, being a friendly person they could go dance with, go out to dinner with, have a good time with, without having to have any of the romance issues that are sometimes involved, of course, in prom night. Now, some of the things a son, of course, needs to know, and some sons already know these sort of things, and some sons don't. The simple thing of maybe having a tuxedo to rent and wearing a tuxedo and what all that might entail and going in for the fitting and how much that might cost. Something else that our sons will have to consider is a corsage. Very often our sons have never had any reason to purchase a corsage before, but have no idea what it is, no idea how to get one, or what all that might involved. Then, of course, wearing a boutonniere up on the lapel will be an issue, taking a girl out to dinner and probably an expectation of being a fairly nice dinner. Driving, assuming he has his license, or being driven if he doesn't have his license, and how to navigate some of that. Parking fees. So sometimes you go to a nice place, or especially if you valet a car, there'll be a fee involved, and of course having cash on hand to be able to handle that, and not being surprised by that, and having some guidance on when to tip and how much to tip as you go. After prom. Some schools have official after prom. Sometimes a less formal after prom is being hosted at a friend's house. Now, it's an official school hosted after prom, and your son will be attending that. Very often that's going to be, of course, chaperone. There's going to be, staff there. There's going to be other adults keeping an eye on things. And so that's one thing. Sometimes an after prom at a friend's house, though, you might want to get to know who that friend is, who those parents are. Find if you have the right to stop by any time. Of course, making sure the parents are actually going to be home, if that's something that's going to be important to you. But basically bringing your son up to speed on what all a prom entails, what many girls expect from a prom, even finding out from some of the high school girls that maybe you have some kind of a relationship with, maybe even a daughter, what girls are looking for in a prom in your particular area, in your particular school. So that way you have a baseline to work from and you can build out from there. We're going to talk in this series of lessons about asking a girl out and how do you help your son ask a girl out, because the prom's a really big deal and it can be a tough thing if that's going to be the very first ask that your son's going to do with a particular girl. We're going to talk about, let me take a quick look at my list here. Between asking the girl, we're going to be talking about, the prom budget and how you budget for it, how you make your decision, how expensive some of the pieces are, so that he knows that before he starts putting together his idea of a great prom date. We'll talk about curfew. This is a parenting issue. Talking about the curfew for prom and how you make that determination. Risky behaviors, depending on the history your son might have and the talks you may have had or not had with him. We'll talk about other parents and dealing with other parents. And we'll talk about the talk, because the prom is a very common sex night for teenagers, and very often, of course, it's the end of the senior year. Many of them are 18 years old and legally may have a right to make decisions like that. And in some places, of course, they may not be 18 yet. I was 17 when I graduated. Legally, I wasn't allowed to make that decision, and so my parents, of course, still had a say there. What to do if your son doesn't want to go? And what do you do afterwards, maybe if things don't go well? I mean, there might not be the same obviousness of drama and trauma that someone might expect from a daughter, but it could be a different sort of reaction. But your son might want to talk about what happened if something didn't go very well, or he may not want to talk about it. And then we're going to talk about practicing milestones. And this is a combination of parenting thing for the moms to know and the fathers to know. So if you've got a husband in the picture, whether it's a stepfather or a significant male role model in your son's life, whether it's his dad or not, we're going to talk about significant milestones and practicing these milestones because prom night is one of them. And if you have a high school senior or even a junior, this is a great opportunity to be practicing that. So welcome to mothersraisingsons.com, our prom series of lessons. And this is Scott Conway, PhD, GAD, and the lead instructor here, the guy with the crazy resume, just trying to help out. Thanks.